Hey, my name's Cody Pfeiffer, and this week our reading log was for the Orbis Pictus Award, and I had chose the story of Katrina, or the Drowned City, Katrina in New Orleans. So this story was illustrated and written by Don Brown, and really the illustrations are what play into the breathtaking story that had happened or had, caused problems in the New Orleans and the with Hurricane Katrina. So this story is not detailed behind that of a certain individual or person, but takes the forefront of the natural disaster itself and the hurricane that had caused so many problems to so many people. Multiple times we see throughout the story he quotes or individualizes people, and shoots little quotes here and there that show little factual evidence of people that had existed at that time or lived through the ordeal that was New Orleans, the Hurricane Katrina. But the story, is nonfiction, so it's written for factual evidence, and you can see this through his citations and anecdotes at the end of the story of how much research he had put into his very ideology. But the most striking portions of this story are the illustrations themselves. Don Brown had done a watercolor kind of paint, but it made you sympathize with the people, because throughout this story we are seeing the devastation that the hurricane had caused to these people and to everyone around it. So the story depicts, many things, from the rising waters to the people trapped on houses to the rioters, the rioting that happened, and the hospitals that had to go without power because they only have certain amounts on their generators after the power is lost. So we detail and see all these different devastations. Really, it's a story that starts grim, and it takes a more dark and grim section as you go further and further into the story. But the story itself, details really well what a natural disaster is. These natural disasters aren't, positive or happy-go-lucky things. They are things that cause devastation, hence the name natural disasters. And exactly as Hurricane Katrina pointed out. Now, a few nitpicks with the story is definitely the certain bias towards certain organizations, and even President Bush, as they point out little throughout the story, little things that they could have done better, or things that they didn't do, or that they were at fault. But really, I can't say that I agree or disagree with it, as in my opinion is unwarranted. But the story itself really shows the devastation and the power that these natural disasters have as we reach throughout the different portions of New Orleans, from the rioting to the rescue efforts to the people trapped on roofs to even the pictures of the dead bodies in the water. Because really, natural disasters aren't a pretty subject, and this story really gives that bitter feeling while you're reading it. So the book was about 101 pages long, so it is rather short. But as I said, it's definitely a grimmer story as it depicts natural disasters. But natural disasters are a part of this life, and as such, they need to be detailed and taught and just shown throughout history. But the idea of Hurricane Katrina and Don Brown's story really brings to life the illustrations really bring to life the people and the sorrow and the misery that came with it, and it makes you sympathize with everything that had happened there. And as such, I think the story really pertained and played into what they were trying to, or what Don Brown was trying to illustrate. And it's a story that should be, monitored and read by groups.